Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. It's Monday, August 11th, 2025. The regular podcasts are back after a very long hiatus. My goal is to at least bring back the regular shows before the start of the football season, which my goal has been reached, meaning the regular season, and of course college football. So, we're going to go over some MLB stuff, results from the weekend. We're just going to not pretend like a lot of stuff in the last several months hasn't happened, but we're just going to go from Friday on with results from MLB, Thursday on from the NFL preseason, WNBA, soccer, Little League World Series is in both baseball and softball. I'm going to do a segment called What's on My Mind. Because of how long I've been on hiatus from regular shows, and the theme's going to be the NBA, news and notes and best bets. So this show's going to be a while. All right, MLB is where we'll begin. Like I said, we'll go over results from the weekend, look ahead to tonight. We'll begin with Friday. The Pirates beat the Reds 3-2. The O's over the Athletics 3-2. Astros over the Yankees 5-3-10. Tigers over the Angels 6-5. Marlins over the Rays 5-1. Guardians over the White Sox 9-5. Phils over the Rangers 9-1. Twins over the Royals 9-4. Brewers over the Mets 3-2. Cards over the Cubs 5-0. Red Sox over the Padres 10-2. D-backs over the Rockies 6-1. Mariners over the Rays 3-2. Dodgers over the Blue Jays 5-1. Giants over the Nationals 5-0. Saturday. Doubleheader Game 1, Braves over the Marlins 7-1. Yankees over the Astros 5-4. Nats over the Giants 4-2. Angels over the Tigers 7-4. Reds over the Pirates 2-1. A's over the O's 11-3. Guardians over the White Sox 3-1. Royals over the Twins 2-0. Brewers over the Mets 7-4. Doubleheader Game 2, Braves over the Marlins 8-6. Cubs over the Cards 9-1. Phils over the Rangers 3-2. D-backs over the Rockies 6-5. Padres over the Red Sox 5-4-10 on a walk-off single by Ramon Laureano. Dodgers over the Blue Jays 9-1. Mariners over the Rays 7-4. And then yesterday, Astros over the Yankees 7-1. The records: Astros 66-52, Yanks 62-56. Twins over the Royals 5-3-11 on a walk-off home run by Luke Keeschel. Twins 56-61, the Royals 58-60. Both those teams have been disappointing this year. Reds over the Pirates 14-8. The Reds 62-57. Pittsburgh 51-68. People are making Pittsburgh out to be like horrifically bad. They're not that disastrous. Braves over the Marlins 7-1. The Braves 51-67. Talk about big disappointments. And then the Marlins are 57-61, who have been a pleasant surprise. A's over the Orioles 3-2. Oakland 53-67. That's another team that's been like kind of not a disaster. And Baltimore, huge disappointment, 53-65. Tigers over the Angels 9-5. Tigers 68-51. Angels 56-62. Angels had a good start. They kind of fallen. White Sox over the Guardians 6-4. The White Sox 43-75. Cleveland 61-56, so they're right there in the wild card mix in the American League. Brewers over the Mets 7-6 as they come back from a big deficit with a walk-off homer by Isaac Collins off of Edwin Diaz. The Brewers are red hot, one of the best teams in baseball, 73-44. The Mets have faltered. Also of the Yankees, the Mets are 63-55. Phillies over the Rangers 4-2. The Phils 68-49. Texas is 60-59. Texas is good. They just got off to a slow start. Nats over the Giants 8-0. Nats 47-70. Giants 59-59. Padres over the Red Sox 6-2. The Padres 66-52. Boston 65-54. D-backs over the Rockies 13-6. Diamondbacks 57-61. Colorado 30-87. The Rockies are terrible. People say that they're worse than last year's White Sox, which you can make a case. Mariners over the Rays 63. Mariners 66-53. Tampa Bay 57-62. So they've fallen off Tampa Bay. So they're in fourth in that division. The Jays over the Dodgers 5-4. The Jays are first in AL East, 69-50. Dodgers 68-50. And the Cardinals over the Cubs 3-2 on Sunday Night Baseball. The Cards are 16-59. The Cubs are 67-50. All right, now tonight's slate. 6 o'clock, you have the Phillies and the Reds. Taijuan Walker and Andrew Abbott. Andrew Abbott's had a breakout season on the Cincinnati Reds. The odds for today are going to be on FanDuel. Reds -122, Phillies +104, over under 9.5, overs -108, unders -112. Phillies -1.5, +164, Reds +1.5 is -200. For this one, I'm going to go with the under because Andrew Abbott's been very, very good. 7 o'clock, Twins Yankees. Boy, did the Yankees need to sweep their team that they own. But hey, no better time to get it right than against the team you historically own. You have Zebby Matthews and Will Warren. Yanks -172, Twins +144, over under 8.5, -10 each way. Twins +1.5 is -137. Yankees -1.5 is +114. So the over 8.5 just moved to -120, -102. Somebody must have just went in on the over. I'm going to go with the Yankees on the run line, -1.5 and +114. I just think this is a bounce back spot for them against the team they traditionally own. 7:30, Tigers, White Sox. Chris Paddock and Elvis Peguero. Detroit -142, White Sox +120, over under 8.5, overs -122, and there's even money. Tigers -1.5, +110, White Sox +1.5 is -32. This line kind of stinks, right? How are the Tigers only -142? Like, that line stinks. And that's why I'm going to hold my nose and take the White Sox at +120. Pirates Brewers on MLB Network. Andrew Heaney and Jose Quintana. Brewers -205, Pittsburgh +172, over under 8.5, overs -124, unders +102. Pittsburgh +1.5 is -111, Brewers -1.5 is -108. Oh, Brewers -1.5 and -108. Oh, I love it. Nationals Royals. Kate Savali and Bailey Falter. Royals -148. Nats +126, over under 8.5. Overs -120, unders -102. Nats +1.5 is -176. Royals -1.5 is +146. So Cade Cavalli so he had his first start against Oakland, but he only went 4 1/3. This is his second start. I'm going to bet it. I like the Nats at +126. It's another underdog I like tonight. The only reason why I took the White Sox was because that line just reeked and stunk. And I'm not the person that believes in this line stinks very often, but in this case, I believe it. I can sense him out better in baseball, more than I would think. 7:45, Rockies Cardinals. Chase Dollander and Miles Mikolas. Cards -210, Rockies +176, over under 8.5, overs -106, unders -114. Rocks +1.5 is -13, Cards -1.5 is -106. Over. Blind over. Love it. D-backs Rangers. Ryan Nelson and Nathan Eovaldi. Nathan Eovaldi's been amazing for Texas this year. Rangers -162, D-backs +136, over under 7.5, overs -104, unders -118. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 164. Rangers minus 1.5 plus 136. I like the under because of Vivaldi. Red Sox, Astros, good series. Garrett Crochet and Christian Javier making his season debut. Red Sox minus 172. Astros plus 144. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 8. Unders minus 112. Red Sox minus 1.5 plus 102. Astros plus 1.5 is minus 122. There's value on the Astros at the big number. You don't get the Astros at that number at home very often. I think the line here is reflective on Garrett Crochet, who's been very good for Boston this year. It's pitched up to what they were expecting. But I just think there's a lot of value on Houston at home and plus 144. Like, Christian Javier is good. And plus, I want to see Crochet do it against a good team. 9:30, Dodgers, Angels. Yoshi Yamamoto and Jose Soriano. Dodgers minus 174. Angels plus 146. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 2. Unders minus 20. Dodgers minus 1.5 minus 114. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 1.5. I'm laying the run line with the Dodgers. 9:45, Padres, Giants. Yu Darvish and Logan Webb. Giants minus 130, Padres plus 110, over under 7.5, overs even money, unders minus 122. Padres plus 1.5 is minus 194, Giants minus 1.5 plus 160. Yu Darvish has just been terrible this year, and because of that, I'm going over 7.5. And 10 o'clock, Rays, A's. Ryan Papuai and Jeffrey Springs. Good pitching matchup. A's minus 110, Rays minus 106, over under 10, minus 110 each way. Rays minus 1.5 plus 150, A's plus 1.5 is minus 182. That's way too high of a total. I like the under. Way too high. These two pitchers are, I think it's because it's the Sacramento bump, but that's too high for a total. Okay, now move on to the NFL preseason. And we'll go over the results from these past couple of weeks. Dating back to the Hall of Fame game, which the Chargers destroyed the Lions 34-7. So Trey Lance started that game for the Chargers, 13-20, 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then DJ Ugalele, the former Clemson quarterback, 2 of 3 for 25 yards. Lions, Kyle Allen, 9 of 14, 91 yards and 2 picks. Hendon Hooker, 3 of 6, 18 yards and a pick. Preseason week 1, Ravens over the Colts 24-16. One of the big things we're looking for is Colts quarterback. Anthony Richardson got hurt in that game. He was 2 for 3, 21 yards. Daniel Jones, 10 of 21, 144 yards. And then Riley Leonard, 12 of 24, 92 yards and a pick. Ravens, Cooper Rush, 2 for 16 yards and a pick. And then Devin Leary, 3 for 12, 43 yards and a pick. And then 6 for 15 on the ground. Eagles over the Bengals, 34-27. You saw a lot of regulars in this game for both teams. Joe Burrow, 9 of 10, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Desmond Ridder, 7 of 60, 91 yards and a pick. Jake Browning, 6 of 14, 60 yards and a pick. So, the backups behind Joe Burrow are not a disaster. And then we did not see the regulars on Philly. I thought Jalen Hurts played. Tanner McKee, 20 of 25, 252 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kyle McCord, 1 of 5, 8 yards and a pick. And then Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 5 of 8, 56 yards. So, backup quarterback for the Eagles. Wonder who will get that job. Raiders and Seahawks, 23 ties. So it's the Geno Smith, Pete Carroll Bowl. So that's funny. That happened in the preseason. Geno Smith, 1 of 3, 15 yards. Aiden O'Connell, 18 of 30, 205 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks. Cam Miller, 6 of 7, 76 yards and a touchdown. Drew Lock started for Seattle, 12 of 22, 147 yards, a touchdown, the pick. And then Jalen Milroe, 6 of 10, 67 yards. Friday, Lions over the Falcons 17-10. Something sad happened in this game as the game had to get stopped because there was a player, Morris Norris. He was taken off the field in an ambulance during the game. And he got injured while attempting to tackle Nathan Carter of the Falcons. Norris hit Carter with his face mask facing the midsection, and the defender's head snapped back after making the hit, which that wasn't a pretty scene. Meanwhile, Kyle Allen, 7-8, 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hendon Hooker, 7-10, 38 yards. Easton Stick, 15 of 18, 149 yards and a touchdown. Emory Jones, 4 of 5, 49 yards. And 2 for 9 on the ground. Browns over the Panthers, 30-10. Big story of this game, Shader Sanders played well. 14 of 20, 338 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tyler Huntley, 6-8, 51 yards and a touchdown. Bryce Young, 4 of 6, 58 yards and a touchdown. Andy Dalton, 13 of 19, 101 yards and a pick. And Jake Plummer, 6 of 10, 79 yards. Patriots over the Commanders, 48-18. Drake May, 3 of 5, 12 yards, 2 for 16, and a rushing touchdown. Ben Woolridge, 9 of 12, 132 yards and a touchdown. Josh Dobbs, 5 of 12, 45 yards. And in Washington, Sam Hartman, 9 of 19, 64 yards, and Josh Johnson, 15 of 22, 173 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. A lot of games on Saturday. Giants over the Bills, 34-25. The big story of this game was Jackson Dart, who the Giants traded up for, looked really good. Russell Wilson started 6-7, 28 yards. Jameis Winston, 7-11, 60 yards and a touchdown. Jackson Dart, 12 of 19, 154 yards and a touchdown. And Tommy DeVito, 10 of 14, 73 yards and a touchdown. All the quarterbacks played good. And the funny thing is that DeVito is better than a lot of these teams' backups. And then Mitch Trubisky, 9 of 13, 138 yards and a touchdown. Mike White, 8 of 13, 112 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Shane Bichelle, 10 of 12, 91 yards. And then he had a carry. And by the way, Jackson Dart, 3 for 24 on the ground. Vikings over the Texans, 20-10. J.J. McCarthy, 4-7, 30 yards. Brett Ripon, 1 of 4, 6 yards. Max Brosmer, 5-8, 47 yards and a touchdown. Sam Howell, 11 of 13, 105 yards. Keaton Slovis, 11 of 15, 71 yards. Davis Mills, 4 of 5, 50 yards and a touchdown. He's still in Houston. That's funny. Then Graham Mertz, the former Wisconsin quarterback, 7 of 14, 27 yards and 3 interceptions. Yikes. And then 1 for 9 on the ground. Steelers over the Jaguars, 31-25. Starting for Pittsburgh was Mason Rudolph, 9 of 10, 84 yards and a touchdown. Skylar Thompson played well, 20 of 28, 233 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, 6 of 7, 43 yards. John Wolford, 3 of 5, 63 yards. Seth Hennigan, 11 of 14, 78 yards. And Nick Mullins, 11 of 18, 89 yards and a touchdown. Rams over the Cowboys, 31-21. Stetson Bennett played the whole game for the Rams, 16 of 24, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Joe Milton, 17 of 29, 143 yards, a touchdown and a pick, 5 for 22 on the ground. And a Will Greer, former Panther, 2 of 3, 14 yards and a 2 for 12 on the ground. Buccaneers over the Titans 29-7. We did not see Baker Mayfield. Kyle Trask, 12 of 16, 129 yards. And then Connor Baselick, 6'9", 48 yards. We did see Cam Ward, 5 of 8, 67 yards. Brandon Allen, 6 of 12, 62 yards. And Tim Boyle, 4 of 13, 24 yards and 2 picks. Brandon Allen had a pick, too. I missed that. Jets over the Packers, 3-10. Justin Fields did see some time. 3 of 4, 42 yards. And then 2 for 14 on the ground. Brady Cook, 6 of 8, 62 yards. And then Adrian Martinez, 11 of 16, 152 yards and a touchdown. 2 for 3 on the ground. And then Green Bay, Jordan Love, 1 for 5, 7 yards. Malik Willis, 4 of 9, 39 yards. Sean Clifford, 2 of 4, 14 yards. And Taylor Elgersma, 3 of 4, 24 yards. So we know it's going to be Love and Willis in Green Bay. Meaning, of course, Jordan Love starts and Willis back up. Couple more. Cardinals over the Chiefs, 20-17. Both quarterbacks played in this game. Kyler Murray, 7-8, 96 yards and a pick. Mahomes only threw a touchdown pass for 1 yard. Meanwhile, the rest of the Arizona quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, 5 of 8, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns. Clayton Tune, 5 of 9, 47 yards. Bailey Zappi, 8 of 17, 17 yards and 2 picks. Gardner Minshew, 6 of 9, 52 yards. And Chris Aldo-Kun, 6 of 13, 39 yards. So Gardner Minshew will probably be the backup to Mahomes. And then here it'll probably be Jacoby Brissett for Zona. Broncos over the 49ers, 30-9. Bo Nix, 6'11", 31 yards. Jared Stidham, 14 of 15, 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. Sam Ellinger, 6 of 10, 55 yards and a touchdown. Mac Jones, 4 of 7, 74 yards and a pick. Carter Bradley, 6 of 14, 32 yards and a pick. And then Tanner Mordecai, 3 of 6, 21 yards and a pick. So Mac Jones will probably be the backup quarterback for Brock Purdy. And then yesterday, Dolphins and Bears, 24-24 tie. Tua, 5 of 6, 27 yards. Quinn Ewers, 5 of 18, 91 yards. Zach Wilson, 5 of 9, 96 yards. So Zach Wilson will probably be the backup to Tua. So Quinn Ewers ain't bad either. Tyson Badgett, 13 of 19, 103 yards, a touchdown, the pick. Case Keenum, 8 of 20, 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. Austin Reed, 5 of 10, 41 yards. So Caleb Williams did not play. And then the Chargers over the Saints, 27-13. So Taylor Heineke, 1 of 5, 8 yards. Trey Lance, 7 of 14, 55 yards. And DJ Ugalele, 1 of he attempted 1 pass and completed it for 49 yards. Then Trey Lance, 7 of 48 on the ground. Saints, Tyler Show, 15 of 22, 165 yards, a touchdown, the pick. Spencer Rattler, 7 of 11, 53 yards. And Jay Keener, 5 of 8, 41 yards and a pick. So that's the preseason action. Now we'll move on to the WNBA. We'll go over results from the weekend. And we have one game tonight. Friday, Lynx over the Mystics 80-76. Liberty over the Wings 88-77. Aces over the Storm 90-86. Saturday, Fever over the Sky 92-70. Valkyries over the Sparks 72-59. Sunday, Lynx beat the Liberty 83-71. Mystics over the Wings 91-78. Dream over the Mercury 74-66. Sparks over the Storm 94-91. And the Aces over the Sun 94-86. Tonight, one game. We have the Sun and the Valkyries. The Valkyries have been a pleasant surprise as a new expansion team. They're 500. The Sun have been a big disappointment, and now they'll talk about that moving to Boston. The Valkyries are 7.5-point favorites. Total's 154.5. I'm going to go with the over. I think the total's low. And I think 7.5 is a little too high, and I don't know if I want to give out a 5-25 team on the road. So I'm going to go over 154.5. I think that is a little bit of a low total. All right, soccer. Again, we're just going to touch on the weekend, what's going on right now. So Premier League will start Friday. So we have Liga over the weekend. Tigres over Puebla 7-0. Saturday, America over Querétaro 1-0. Mazatlán Tijuana 2-2 draw. Pachuca over Atlas 3-0. Sunday, UNAM Necaxa 1-1 draw. Santos over Guadalajara 1-0. And then tonight, 3 matches, Leon and Monterrey. I'm just trying to pull up the odds. Here we go. Monterrey minus 105, Leon plus 230, draw plus 240. Monterrey's playing well. I'm going to take them as a road favorite, minus 105. 11 o'clock, Juarez and Toluca. Toluca minus 110, Juarez plus 280 plus 260 is the draw. Again, I'm going to go a little bit of a trickier one. I think Juarez has been pretty good. I'm going to go with the draw plus 260. And then Athletic San Luis and Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul minus 140, Atletico San Luis plus 330, draw plus 280. I'm going to go take a chance here. Under 2.5 goals at plus 128. Now we'll go over the MLS results from the weekend. Charlotte over Cincinnati 1-0. Colorado over Minnesota 2-1. Red Bulls over Salt Lake 2-1. Orlando over Miami 4-1. Seattle over Galaxy 4-0. That was yesterday. And then Saturday, Atlanta Montreal 1-1 draw. New England over DC 2-0. Philly Toronto 1-1 draw. Houston Austin 2-2 draw. Chicago LAFC 2-2 draw. Dallas over Portland 2-0. St. Louis over Nashville 3-1. San Diego over KC 2-0. San Jose over Vancouver 2-1. So, other leagues. The Women's League, Friday night, Houston over North Carolina 2-1, KC over Utah 1-0. Saturday, Gotham, Washington 0-0 draw. Orlando, Louisville 1-1 draw. San Diego, Angel City 1-1 draw. Sunday, Chicago, Bay FC 1-1 draw. Portland over Seattle 4-2. Premier League is back the 15th, as I mentioned. Bundesliga is back the 22nd. La Liga is back the 15th. Serie A is back the 23rd. League One's back the 15th, so we have a lot coming back in soccer. USL results from Saturday. Lexington over Phoenix 2-0. Detroit over Indy 1-0. Miami El Paso 0-0 draw. Pitt Orange County 1-1 draw. Rhode Island Loudoun 0-0 draw. North Carolina over Tampa Bay 2-1. Hartford over Birmingham 4-1. Louisville over Charleston 4-1. Tulsa over New Mexico 5-2. Colorado over Oakland 2-1. Vegas San Antonio 1-1 draw. Sacramento over Monterey Bay 1-0. We also have Dutch Eredivisie coming up. Actually, no. That started over the weekend. So Friday, Fortuna Go Ahead Eagles 2-2 draw. Saturday, NEC over Excelsior 5-0. Feyenoord over NAC Breda 2-0. Heerenveen FC Volendam 1-1 draw. PSV over Sparta 6-1. And then yesterday, PEC Zwolle over FC 20 1-0. Ajax over Telstar 2-0. AZ Alkmaar over FC Groningen 4-1. FC Utrecht over Heracles 4-0. Scottish Premiership started last weekend, or 2 weekends ago. But last weekend, Livingston over Falkirk 3-1. St. Mary Motherwell 0-0 draw. Rangers Dundee 1-1 draw. And then yesterday, Celtic over Aberdeen 2-0. Hearts over Dundee 3-2. And Hibernian Kilmarnock 2-2 draw. And then the Pro League, that was done Memorial Day. So we don't have that for a while. So soccer, we're all caught up. Now we will move on to the Little League World Series. We'll start with baseball. So it started last Tuesday. Richmond, Texas over Kenner, Louisiana 5-2. That was the Southwest Regional Championship. Wednesday, August 6th, Southeast Regional Championship. Irmo, South Carolina over Lake Mary, Florida 5-4. Great Lakes Regional Championship. Clarendon Hills, Illinois over Hampton, Ohio 9-4. Thursday, New England Regional Championship. Braintree, Massachusetts over Bedford, New Hampshire 3-2 and 8. And then West Regional Championship, Honolulu, Hawaii over Fullerton, California 4-1. Friday, Midwest Regional Championship, Sioux Falls, South Dakota over Fargo, North Dakota 6-0. Mid-Atlantic, Uklon Township, Pennsylvania over Germantown, Maryland 7-1. Mountain Regional, Vegas, Nevada over Alpine, Utah 6-3. Metro, Fairfield, Connecticut over Smithtown, New York 12-1 in 4. That was a mercy rule game. Northwest Regional, Bonnie Lake, Washington over Beaverton, Oregon 6-1. And then the opening round of the Little League World Series will begin on Wednesday the 13th. And then softball. That finished over the weekend. We had the Orange Championship, Floyd Knobs, Indiana over Winterville, North Carolina 2-0 in 7. And then Johnstown, Pennsylvania over Tulsa, Oklahoma 4-0 in the Purple Championship. And then the consolation game, Tulsa, Oklahoma over Winterville, North Carolina 3-2. And the championship, Johnstown, Pennsylvania over Floyd Knobs, Indiana 1-0. So the softball World Series is done. The baseball World Series starts this week. Okay, now we're going to do golf. We'll go over what's been going on in the PGA. So this past weekend was the FedEx St. Jude Championship. We had a playoff. The winner, 16 under, 10 scored playoff. Justin Rose, second place. 16 under, 11 in the playoff score. J.J. Spawn, tied for third, 15 under. Scotty Scheffler, Tommy Fleetwood. Fifth with 11 under, Cam Young. Tied for sixth with 10 under, Ricky Fowler, Andrew Novak, and Ashke Bahita. Tied for ninth with 9 under, Ben Griffin, Kurt Katayama, Patrick Cantley, Ludwig Gayberg, Chris Kirk. Tied for 14th with 8 under, Jonathan Vegas, Bailey Curry, and Saiwoo Kim. Tied for 17th with 7 under, Sanjay Im, Hideki Matsuyama, Ryan Henley, Jacob Bridgman, and Sepp Straka. Tied for 22nd with 6 under, JT Potson, Harry Hall, Aaron Ray, Xander Schauffele, Brian Harmon, Colin Morikawa. Tied for 28th with 5 under, Taylor Pence with Sam Burns, Matt McNeely, Justin Thomas. Tied for 32nd with 4 under, Davis Riley, Matt Fitzpatrick, Denny McCarthy, Victor Hovland, Max Grieserman, and Kevin Yu. Tied for 38th with 3 under, Matthias Schmidt, Jordan Spieth, Nicholas Echeverria, Thomas Dietrich, Patrick Rogers, and Robert McIntyre. Tied for 44th with 2 under, Keegan Bradley, Lucas Glover, Nate Taylor, Ryan Gerard. Tied for 48th with 1 under, Harry English and Stefan Yeager. Tied for 50th at even, Ryan Fox, Corey Connors, Emiliano Grillo, Cam Davis. Tied for 54th with 1 over, Chris Goddard and Scott Stevens. Tied for 56th with 2 over, Jason Day, Mackenzie Hughes, Wyndham Clark. Tied for 59th with 3 over, Evan Van Rooyen, Shane Lowry, Aldrich Potgieger, and Michael Kim. Tied for 62nd at 5 under at 5 over Evan Van Roy and Jake Knapp. Tied for 64th with 6 over Tony Finau. Taylor Hook. I'm doing notables now. 67th with 8 over Joe Highsmith. And then Minwoo Lee and Danny Berger tied for 68th with 10 over. BMW Championships this upcoming weekend at Caves Valley Golf Club in Baltimore. We will give out a pick for that on Wednesday's show. Now I'm going to do NASCAR. We'll go over the results from the weekend. So, Watkins Glen Truck Series. I'm trying to get the results up here because they're not showing it to me. Here we go. All right, so Corey Heim won, Daniel Hemrick second, Gio Ruggiero third, Chris Bell fourth, Tyler Rankin fifth, Sammy Smith sixth, Ty Majeski seventh, eighth Connor Zilich, ninth Matt Mills, 10th Lane Riggs. The rest: William Solich, Wesley Slim, Matt Crafton, Dawson Sutton, Jake Garcia, Connor Mozak, Brent Cruz, Spencer Boyd, Derek White, Timmy Hill, Andres Perez, Chris Boucher, Grant Effinger, Chandler Smith, Gian Buffamonte, Ben Rhodes, Frankie Muniz, Tanner Gray, Tony Brenninger, Ross Chastain, Parker Kligerman, Raja Caruth, Jack Wood, Caden Honeycutt, William Lambros, Kyle Busch. So Corey Haim's the leader in the standings right now. And then we'll do Xfinity results. Your winner was Connor Zilich, Sam Myers second, third Sammy Smith, fourth Austin Hill, fifth Carson Gvappel, sixth Justin Algier, seventh Austin Green, eighth Christian X, ninth Brandon Jones, 10th Harrison Burton. The rest: Kaz Gralla, Brendan Poole, Dean Thompson, Jesse Love, Jeremy Clemens, Jeb Burton, Daniel Dye, Taylor Gray, Stephon Parsons, Austin Hill, Glenn Reen, Parker Retzlaff, Blaine Perkins, Nick Sanchez, Michael McDowell, William Sawalik, Josh Balicki, Ryan Sieg, Ryan Ellis, Kyle Slegg, Shane Van Gisbergen, Anthony Alfredo, Matt DiBendetto, Preston Pardis, Sheldon Creed, Riley Herbst, Thomas Ananzada, Garrett Smithley, and then the Cup Series. So I'm trying to pull up the Cup Series because it was not on that link. Here we go. Those aren't the results. Jeez. There we go. Shane Van Gisbergen, Chris Bell, Chris Boucher, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Riddick, Ross Chastain. That was your top 10. The rest: AJ Allmendinger, Eric Jones, Ryan Preece, Joey Logano, Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric, Jane Smith, Carson Osborne, Michael McDowell, Alex Bowman, Noah Gragson, Kyle Busch, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Riley Herbst, Danny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Justin Haley, Todd Gilliland, Cody Ware, Ty Dillon, Brad Keselowski, John Hunter Nemechek, Ty Gibbs, Cole Custer, Josh Berry, Catherine Legg, Josh Balicki, J.J. Yeley, Kyle Larson, So those are your results for that race. So F1's off until the end of the month. So now we're going to do what's on my mind. The NBA. I promoted this at the beginning of the show that I was going to do this because of my hiatus. So just going to talk a little bit. So the Thunder obviously won the title. We did a podcast after that. They should be the favorites to repeat. Who's the team to beat in the East is a big conversation. It's either the Knicks or Cleveland. The Knicks improved their bench by bringing in Jordan Clarkson and the big guy, the backup big that they signed in free agency. And then they extended Mikal Bridges. And the NBA schedule is going to be out soon. And it's reported that they are yet again playing on Christmas, this time at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then, so, like I said, Clarkson and the big guy, the former Sixer that a lot of people wanted in free agency. I'm blanking on his name. And everybody was excited they signed him. Gershon Yabusele, 2-year deal. And then no departures. So adding those two guys to the bench makes them better. And then they extended Mikal Bridges. Meanwhile, Cleveland, they lost Ty Jerome to Memphis. And Isaac Okoro got traded to the Bulls. They re-signed Sam Merrill. They added Lonzo in the trade. And then Larry Nance Jr. went back to Cleveland. That's debatable. I think it all comes down to Lonzo Ball. And if he's good, then they're right there at the Knicks. But I think it's the Knicks because I just think there's more uncertainty with the bench in Cleveland. Although I do like Kenny Atkinson. Mike Brown, I thought, was a good hire by the Knicks. I just think he got a raw deal in Sacramento, and that team's season fell apart after he got fired. So I thought it was premature of them to fire him. So I'm happy to see Mike Brown get another chance. So the Clippers and the Lakers are interesting. A lot of people love what the Clippers did. They brought back James Harden and Nick Batum. Well, Harden was a 2-year extension. So they bring in Bradley Beal, John Collins, Brook Lopez, Chris Paul, and Ty Washington. They lose Norm Powell in the trade with the Heat. And then they waived Drew Eubanks. I do think Norman Powell's a big loss, and I don't think Chris Paul's the same player. I thought the Brook Lopez signing was weird. I think he could start on any team. That's a really good backup big to have. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And then the Lakers, Luka extension. They bring back Jackson Hayes 1-year deal. They bring in DeAndre Ayton. He'll probably be their starting center. Jake LaRavia 2-year deal. Marcus Smart 2-year deal. And then their only big loss was Dorian Finney-Smith as they lost him to the Rockets. I'm not big on the Clippers like other people. I just think that they signed a lot of big names from the past. And we've seen that happen with the Suns, and then look what happened to the Suns. It's the same freaking thing. And then we see James Harden disappearing act in the playoffs. I get it, Kawhi Leonard's healthy, I get it, but when's he going to... I mean, it's only a matter of time before he gets hurt again. So I'm not high on the Clippers. The Lakers, it comes down to whether LeBron and Luka are healthy or not. And if DeAndre Ayton can discover some old form, I think they could be good. And then obviously they managed to keep Austin Reeves, which is important. Memphis is interesting. They trade away Desmond Bane. That was terrible, in my opinion. I know the Magic gave up a lot, but that's a big loss. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, that guy's probably going to be traded again. They bring in Ty Jerome. Nice. That's, I guess, a nice signing, but that might have been a one-year wonder. But yeah, I'm not high on Memphis. But yeah, I could go through every team, like who went and who left. But I just wanted to talk about a few that stood out. I mean, Indiana stands out, obviously. It's terrible what happened to Tyrese Halliburton and the torn Achilles. He's out for the year. They lose Miles Turner. That team, it might be a tank team. And so might the Celtics. A lot of people think that those two teams might be competitive. Hell no. Especially with Indiana. Celtics I can see because Jaylen Brown's better than anybody Indiana has. But the Celtics lost Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. And obviously Tatum the whole year. So, they're not going to be good. Jaylen Brown's going to have probably one of the best years of his life. If not the best year of his career. He might make the All-Star team if the Celtics are over 500. But I have enough questions about that. So I'm not sold that the Celtics are going to be good. They might be a play-in team, but I'm not so sold on that either. That might be a 1998 Spurs situation where they tank. That's a possibility in my mind. So it's very hard to judge the Celtics for sure. And then the Spurs stand out to me. If Wembanyama's healthy, that might be a playoff team, let alone a play-in playoff top 6. They bring in Luke Cornett, 4-year deal. Kelly Olynyk comes over in the trade. Chris Paul, from the leader standpoint, I think is somewhat of a loss, not necessarily a production standpoint. And then De'Aaron Fox, 4-year extension. They're banking on Dylan Harper to be good. So the Spurs are interesting for sure. There's a lot more on my mind for the NBA, but I can't do everything. The schedule is going to come out this week, so I might do a special podcast going over the schedule and whatnot. The Spurs are also playing on Christmas Day, by the way. I don't remember who they're playing, but I know it's Knicks Cleveland. I know the Lakers play, the Clippers play, the Spurs play, OKC obviously plays, the Celtics got booted, obviously, and rightfully so. That's sick. That's a sad thing to say, a sick thing to say, but it's true, at least for this year. And same for Indiana. But yeah, it should be a rule. If your star player is injured, you don't, and injured for the season, then you shouldn't be in primetime spots, like holiday spots. Like the NBA knows that they're not dumb. And I think the Timberwolves are involved, which is good. They deserve it because they're in the West Finals the last 2 years. And Anthony Edwards is amazing. I think Golden State's on the Christmas schedule. And the Mavericks. I think it's Mavs-Lakers on Christmas. And that's fun. Or is it Mavs-Warriors? It's either Klay Thompson against his old team or Davis-Luka against each other. I forget what it is, but I know Dallas either plays Golden State or the Lakers. But the only two Eastern teams that are on Christmas are Knicks and Cleveland, and they're playing against each other, which is cool. That's a great game. Those are the best two teams in the East. So, yeah, I can't wait for the actual schedule to come out. And one more thing, if you ask me predictions for opening night, I think Denver will play OKC. And by the way, I think Denver is playing OKC on Christmas, ironically enough. I know Denver's on the Christmas schedule, so. And then and that might be the 10 o'clock game. I swear, if that's the 8 o'clock game and then you deal with the freaking Lakers at 10:30 against Minnesota, like, give me a break. No, thank you. But yeah, I want to see Denver OKC. I think that'll be 10 o'clock, and then 7:30 will be Knicks against somebody. Probably. Do you think they'll put them against Cleveland? Maybe have Cleveland host the game. Because if the Knicks host Cleveland on opening night and host them on Christmas, that's just pure favoritism towards the Knicks. I'm sorry. But it's going to be interesting. So, I'm going to say Knicks at Cleveland and then Denver at OKC when OKC gets their rings for opening night. All right, news and notes. I'll try to be quick with this. E.J. Warner, the son of Kurt Warner, wins Fresno State's starting quarterback job. He was obviously played for Rice last year. The Browns are getting Dylan Gabriel trade calls, so that's interesting. There's a lot of Deion Sanders and Shader Sanders talk. Deion, prayers go out to him and what he went through. So Landon Dickerson was thought to have right meniscus surgery. That's something to watch. Alexander Madison out for the season. Neck surgery, that's brutal for Miami. Everyone's thinking that they might finish last in that division. I don't think the Jets are going to be very good because I'm not a Justin Fields fan. He stunk on Pittsburgh last year. Excuse me. But we'll see. Ravens rookie corner Robert Longerbeam, torn patella tendon, out for the season. Tyjae Spears out a few weeks, hopes to start the season as he was carted off after a catch and run the preseason game. Anthony Richardson set the practice, looking to get back into competition against Daniel Jones. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, it was thought that he was going to be out for the season, but the injury isn't as serious as initially reported, so he could return week 1. So that's a big deal for the Houston Texans. The AP poll for college football came out today. I'll go over it with you guys. I'm doing all my college football homework right now. And then I'll do my predictions show probably the following week. Maybe like the following Tuesday because the season starts the 28th. Or it might start the 23rd because there's usually games, it's week 0. So maybe I'll do it a week, maybe like a week and a half from now. All right, so 1 through 5. Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia. So Penn State ahead of Ohio State, I think, raised some eyebrows. Texas got 25 first-place votes. Penn State got 23 first-place votes. Ohio State got 11. Clemson got 4. Georgia got 1. 6 through 10. Notre Dame, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, Miami. Oregon got a first-place vote. 11 through 15, Arizona State, Illinois, South Carolina, Michigan, Florida. There's some surprises in here. And Michigan being in there after the year they had last year. 16 through 20, SMU, Kansas State, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Indiana. SMU had a good year last year. And then 21 through 25, Ole Miss, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Tennessee, Boise State. So, Penn State ahead of Ohio State's the big surprise there. There are some people that thought that Washington was going to be in there. Texas Tech is snuck in at 23. Oklahoma's in there in year 2 in the SEC. So it's going to be interesting. I still haven't really done my research yet. But of course, Texas is one with Arch Manning. How about this? UFC moving to CBS and Paramount as Dana White announces fans will no longer have to buy PPVs starting in 2026. That is great. Mariano Rivera tore his Achilles in the Yankees old-timers game on Saturday. That was not cool. Hopefully he gets well soon. The Knicks filled out the rest of Mike Brown's staff. TJ Saint from the Pelicans and Chris Gent from the Hornets. I like Chris Gent. I think he's a future NBA coach. I do. So the Yankees' demise has been going on all summer pretty much, and so is the Mets'. There's a chance both those teams might not make the playoffs. Aaron Judge really hasn't been right since he came back. He's been DHing. Max Fried, not the same guy as he was to start the season. There's an injury there. And then he had that blister. He missed the start. So I think that's still bothering him. They obviously missed Garrett Cole. We thought the trade deadline was going to be good for both teams, but both teams have been bad since the trade deadline. All these relievers. Jake Bird got sent down to AAA. He came over to the Yankees in a trade from Colorado. Devin Williams has been an absolute disaster for the Yankees this season. He reminds me of Edwin Diaz in Diaz's first season with the Mets. And then Diaz ended up redeeming himself. So I could see that as an avenue for Devin Williams. Although they might panic trade him, just like they panic traded Sonny Gray. The Yankees tend to panic trade guys that don't work out. We see it with Sonny Gray, and we're probably, I think there's a chance we see it with Devin Williams, but the best case scenario is what I laid out with Edwin Diaz. He was bad in his first full season with the Mets, and then he was good the next year. And they made the playoffs the next year, if I'm not mistaken. That was the year they lost to the Padres. And then Devin Williams actually said, I stink right now. Which he does. And he stunk all year. The Phillies called up David Robertson for his third stint with the team. Jimbo Fisher eyeing a college football return. That would be weird. We haven't seen him in a long time since he got let go from Texas A&M. UNC Women's lands 2026's top recruit. Kate Harpring picked the Tar Heels over Iowa, South Carolina, and more. That's a huge get for Tar Heels. They're not known for women's basketball, so hey. Iowa wasn't known for women's basketball, and then Caitlin Clark showed up, so you never know with these kinds of things. And that's it for news and notes. And last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. So I love the Brewers -1.5 against Pittsburgh, I just think that Milwaukee is on a roll right now. There's no letdown today after that walk-off homer. So I'm going to lay the -1.5 at -106 against the Pirates of Pittsburgh. So again, Brewers -1.5 at -106. So there you go for the show. First show back in a long time, meaning regular shows. I'll be back tomorrow, recapping everything, looking at everything tomorrow as well, and then we'll do what's on my mind version of the NHL. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.